If there is anything that sums up the Democratic Party's problems, it is scenes like this. Riots over the last 6 days in Los Angeles, now spreading across the country. They combine the Democrats' three major problems: immigration, lawlessness, and progressive policies. Democrats are sinking in political quicksand. As you heard, the approval rating of the party is at 19%. But some think Governor Gavin Newsom's efforts to stand up to Trump over calling in the National Guard are a step in the right direction for the party's future. The one voice of reason Democrats could always count on in times like this is notably nowhere to be found. The most recent sighting of former President Obama were him whining and dining with the King of Norway. Evidently, the salmon season there produces some particularly fresh fish. He also spent some time celebrating his daughter's birthday. Even The Atlantic's taking note. Where is Barack Obama? The audacity of hope presidency has given way to the fierce lethargy of semi-retirement. The author of the piece was on MSNBC this morning.
I think a weekend like this, where you have like literally tanks in the streets of Washington and in Los Angeles now, and you will in a few days here, would be, I think, a really important time for someone who has presidential authority, who's still relatively popular, and who still has a lot of goodwill attached to him, to actually remind in a very eloquent way Americans that this is not normal.
Dean Phillips is with us, former 2024 Democratic presidential candidate, Minnesota representative, and Ameshia Cross, Democratic strategist, former Obama campaign advisor. Ameshia, Democrats need Obama right now?
I think Democrats need leadership. I think Democrats need to also look to their community, to their states as well. At the end of the day, Barack Obama is doing what a lot of presidents do once they're no longer in the presidency. They're enjoying life post-presidency. He jumps in during election cycles. We've seen it in midterms before. We'll see it in the next 4 years when we talk about 2028. But Barack Obama has made it clear he has passed the baton. The baton gets passed from every president. Nobody asked this question when January 6th happened. They didn't ask where George W. Bush was.
Oh, yes, they did.
So
oh,
at the
yes,
end of the
they
day,
did.
What ends up happening is presidents go into the recession line after their presidency is over. That is typically how it works, no matter which party it happens to be. And they pop back out during campaign season. That's just how it works.
The one person who didn't do that was Donald Trump. I think we can all agree there. But
he ran twice.
Right. Okay. The idea of Barack Obama, though, is important because we're going to keep the pictures of Los Angeles up so you can see what's going on. This was Barack Obama as president in 2014. Take a listen.
Even as we are a nation of immigrants, we're also a nation of laws. Undocumented workers broke our immigration laws, and I believe that they must be held accountable, especially those who may be dangerous.
Dean, where is that voice in the Democratic Party?
Leland, I'm asking that same question every day. Your question was, where is he, and where are our leaders? Where have they gone? I would love to see former President Obama and former President George Bush together try to encourage the center-right and center-left in the United States of America to join together and put an end to this very tragic nonsense. And each man who does still represent a large cross-section of this country to encourage the far left to moderate a little bit and the far right to moderate a little bit. I'd like to see them both. I don't think we can ask the question about where's Obama without asking where's George Bush. I respect that former presidents usually go off into the sunset during normal times. This isn't a normal time, and I do think former President Obama should take that baton back, because in the absence of anybody carrying it, Leland, the Democratic Party and I believe our country are in great peril.
I hate to ask this so starkly, but you make a great point about both of them, that they are generally popular individuals, but are they relevant anymore, Ameshia? Barack Obama campaigned and warned and cajoled about Donald Trump during the 2024 campaign, and it didn't work.
Well, I definitely think that they're relevant. At the end of the...
Go ahead, Ameshia.
At the end of the day, I think that both are relevant, even outside of election cycles. There needs to be a conversation about moving the nation forward. Yes, we've had immigration reform packages and plans. One of the most prominent and comprehensive actually came from George W. Bush, and Republicans fired against it when he did it when he was in office. And Barack Obama, he made several, I think, advancements during his time, and some of them were advancements in his own ideology. We can recall in 2008, he said a marriage was between a man and a woman. By the time we got to 2010, we were working towards more more equality when it came to marriage. I think that we also saw him evolve on immigration. He was the person who led DACA. So we have to make sure that that part of the history isn't forgotten as well. But I also think that we have a job to do in bringing America back together, because right now the divisions are greater than I think anybody anticipated, and those growing divisions are ripping the country apart.
Dean, you've warned repeatedly about the move to the far left by the Democratic Party. Is this a result of that, or is this a symptom of it, what we're seeing now in Los Angeles?
Well, I think this is a result of that move and the absence of leaders with the courage to push back on what has now become the base of the Democratic Party is of grave concern. It's not as unlike what has happened on the right with the Republican Party, where that base of voters, the primary voters, the activists, the officers, have essentially become the MAGA party. That leaves a massive, massive number of Americans that feel politically homeless, including the guy you're talking to right now. I'm still a proud Democrat, but deeply concerned from the migration to what you just played on Barack Obama talking about that nuance of being pro-immigration, but also pro-rule of law. We should raise the bar for illegal immigration and lower the bar for legal immigration. That is the solution. We shouldn't be deporting people right now. I think pro-Obama would say what we should do is pay a fine or pay a fee to become a naturalized citizen, assuming that you are productive, that you are law-abiding in the United States of America. That seems to be the middle ground, but when both parties have pulled us so far to the corners, Leland, I'm afraid that's why we need former President Obama, former President Bush, and others to make appearances together to remind this country where we came from and what it's going to take to get to where we want to go. This is not it.
No. Agreed on that point for sure. Dean, Ameshia, thank you both very much.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.